Now, the excluded value, that is like it is a value of a variable for which rational expression is undefined. Like you have in numerical fractions, if you remember, we have 4. Like if you have as an example 4 over 0. This is undefined. Why? Because we have 0 in the denominator. Also now, for the rational expression, if you have x minus 1 over x plus 2, the value that is make him undefined, we call it an excluded value. So, what is the excluded value here? What you have to do? You will look at the denominator. Take it. Find the 0 of the denominator. How? By let him equal 0. So x is negative 2. So I will say that here it is defined in all values except x not equal negative 2. Or when x is not negative 2. This means excluded value. It is a value of a variable for which a rational expression is undefined. So, we solved now yesterday's questions here. Now let's start, or let's continue D. I want now to solve D, and then I want to find the excluded value for it. Now what you have to do, let's solve D here first. It is a c squared minus c minus x over c squared plus 5c plus 6. Now, as we said yesterday, since we have a trinomial, so we have to factorize it as we learned in chapter 8. Then, here we have c and c. Now, since the sign here is negative, so we have one negative and one positive. Then, I want you now to ask yourself to give me two numbers that if you multiply them, you get negative 6. The factors of two pairs that make negative 6. That if you add them, you take negative 1. So you have to put negative and positive. Positive and negative. Now, 6
and 3.
Yeah.
And 3.
And 3.
Negative 3 and positive 2.
Yeah. Now let's see. If we add them, we get negative 1. Negative 2 and 3 is 1. Positive 2 and negative 3 is negative 1. So it's negative. So we have positive 2 and negative 3. Now look at the second one here. Also we have 2c, but we have a plus sign, and here we have a plus. So that means they are plus in both brackets. Then, two pair of factors. If you add them, you get to 5. If you multiply them, you get 6. They are 2 and 3.
3.
Now then, I want to simplify. So, this one and this one will cancel each other since they are equal. So I will say the simplified form will be c minus 3 over c plus 3. I now simplify it. Now let's state any excluded values. Now, to find the excluded value, you have to go back, okay, to the function before simplification. before I simplify it, look at it. So to find an excluded value, go to the expression after simplification, after factorization, before simplification. When you look at that here, what expressions we have in the denominator? What did you have in the denominator? C plus 2 and C plus 3. Bravo. Take now both of them. Let them equal 0. So C plus 2 equals 0. So what is the value of C? We will subtract C, subtract negative 2 from both sides. So C will be negative 2.
Miss, we mean C minus negative 3, C plus 3. Teacher, there is no C plus 2.
No, miss, here, look at the denominator. Here and here.
Oh, okay.
Here, look at the denominator. To find the excluded value, you have to look at the denominator and find the zeros of the denominator. Okay, then minus 3, so C is negative 3. These are the excluded. I'm sorry. These are now the excluded value. What does it mean? That means if you evaluate C negative 2 or C negative 3, add a function here like negative 2 squared 4. Evaluate it here, okay? Negative 2 squared plus, minus negative 2 minus 6 over negative 2 squared plus 5 times negative 2 plus 6. If you evaluate it now, negative 2 squared 4 minus 2 is 2 minus 6 minus 4 over negative 2 squared 4 minus 10 is negative 6 plus 6 0. So after you evaluate it, you find here that the numeric or the fraction after you evaluate is negative 4 over 0. So it's undefined. So the values that make these expressions undefined, two values, negative 2 and negative 3. Did you understand why I call them excluded value?
Yes, miss.
Let's make a function that's make the denominator here is 0. So the excluded value is when it will be the functions, or you can say after you finish, you'll say tell me that the function is undefined except C is not equal negative 2 and not equal to negative 3. So you simplify it and you will find that it's excluded value. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Now, let's now talk about a new something, which is the opposite factors. If you have now in numerical fractions like 3 and negative 3, that means they are 3 up and down. It's negative 1 times 3. They are opposite to each other. So when you simplify it, you will find that the answer here is negative 1. This is for numerical fraction. In rational expression here, we have the same thing. We have like x plus 2 over 2 minus x. Now, if you have it like x plus 2 over, Now look at 2 minus x. 2 minus x. Look at them here. They are opposite to the denominator. What does it mean? Like, how, yani? Look at the sign of x here.
The sign and the pattern.
And the sign of the denominator. Since now the sign of the variables are different, are opposite to each other, so I will say that x plus 2 and 2 minus x are opposite factors. I will repeat, since the variable, which is x up and negative x down, has an opposite value here, as you see, x and negative x, they are opposite to each other. So I will say, because of that, I will say they are opposite factors. So you can rewrite it as negative 1 times x plus 2. Why? Because if you look at negative 1 times x plus 2, it's like negative x it's like negative x plus 2 or 2 minus x if you arrange them. So if you look at the two variables, with that they have different sign, so I will say that they are opposite factors. And now I will repeat it for you. If you have x minus 3 and 3 minus x, and you want to simplify them, if you look at them, you'll tell me, teacher, it's not like x minus 3 over x minus 3. It's not the same, so we cannot cancel them. But if you look at them here, look at x here and here, you will find that they are opposite. One is positive and one is negative. And also look at the numbers here. We have negative and we have positive. So also the numbers are positive, are the opposite. So since the variable are opposite to each other and the numbers are opposite to each other, in this state, I will cancel them. If the variable and the number, both of them, are opposite to each other, I can simplify them. I can cancel them. How? You will keep the denominator, the positive x, as it is, and you will change the ones that have a negative sign, that you will take a negative 1 as a common factor. When you take a negative 1 as a common factor, as I told you yesterday, divide the first one here with negative 1. What did you have? The first term. Divide with negative 1. What did you have? Negative 3. And negative x, divide by negative 1. You have positive x. Bravo. So, since, as I told you, since the variable and the number have different opposite sign, so I can simplify them. Must be both of them. Then, so I have now as an x minus 3 over, let's now arrange here, negative 3 plus x. If you change the order, you write them as x minus 3. It is the same, is it right? If you put the x first and the negative 3 at the last, they are the same. Now, when you're simplifying them, when you cancel them in each other, you have the answer as negative 1. So these are, we call them opposite factors. The opposite factors is if we have the variable opposite to each other and the number opposite to each other. Must be the number and the variable. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher. Clear.
Yes, teacher.
Now I want to ask you some questions.
No. Yes, I didn't understand it.
If you have x minus 3 over x plus 3, if you have x minus 3 over 3 plus x. If you have x minus 3 over negative x minus 3. And if you have x minus 3 over negative x plus 3. Now, which from these expressions can be simplified? Now look at the first one here. What you have to do to know that, look at the first one. Look at the numbers. Are the numbers opposite?
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
The numbers, yes, they are opposite. Negative 3 and positive 3. I told you.
Yeah.
I told you to simplify it, you must have opposite variable and opposite numbers. So here we have an opposite numbers. Okay. Now, did we have an opposite variable?
No.
No. So I cannot simplify it. Look at the second case here now. Did I have an opposite numbers?
Yes.
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 Did I have an opposite variable?
Yes. No.
No.
No. So I
No.
cannot simplify it. Look at the third case here now. Did I have the opposite variable?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But did I have now an opposite numbers?
No.
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 So I cannot simplify it. So be careful. Now look at the last one here. Did we have an opposite variable?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposite numbers?
Yes.
Yes.
So this case, I can simplify it. Is it clear now? So be careful. You have to know when you can say they are opposite factors. Now let's solve problem number 3. But before I clear it, is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Now, what is the simplified form of 4 minus x squared over 7x minus 14? Here we have 4 minus x squared over 7x minus 14. Now, look at up here. How can I factorize it?
As x plus 2 and x plus 2.
No.
Teacher, we will separate the 7 with alone and the x alone and the x alone.
I mean 4 minus x squared. How can I simplify it?
Two minus x and 2
Bravo,
plus
Nada.
x.
Thank you, Nada. Bravo. It is like a minus b squared. A squared minus b squared. So when you factorize it, you will have a minus b times a plus b, which we call them a difference of perfect square. So we have a and b, and one is negative and one is positive. So here we have to find the square root of 4, which is 2, and 2. And this here, as I told you, we have one is negative and one is positive x. Then you have to put the square root of x squared, which is x here and x here. And then this negative is one negative and one positive. Now look at the denominator here. For the denominator, as I told you, can I factorize it or I have to find the common factor?
You need to find the common factor.
Bravo, you need to find the common factor. Why? I cannot factorize it. It is not a quadratic or polynomial. It is not a quadratic, sorry. It is not multiplied to cut it or to factorize it. It is a linear function that is simplified. I have to take a common factor. So let's take 7 as a common factor here. Now let's remember why. How I know they are 7. Take the two terms here, which is 7x and 14. So we have 7 times x, cut them, and we have 7 times 2. What is the common factor here? It is 7.
7.
What is here?
7.
Then, what is if we remove 7 from the first row?
X minus 2.
X minus 2.
So I have an x minus 2. Bravo.
Minus 2.
Now, let's see now where can I simplify it. Now, if you look at here, you will find that we have x minus 2 and 2 minus x and 2 plus x. So they are, it could be we have an opposite factors. Which one is an opposite factors to x minus 2? Is it an 2 minus x or 2 plus x?
2 minus x.
No.
2 minus x.
2 minus x.
2 minus x.
Bravo. But how did you know? Look at the opposite of negative 2. Where is it? It is positive 2. So it could be this one or this one. Now, where is the opposite of positive x?
Negative.
Negative x. So it will be
Negative.
this one. So how to write it? This one, which is 2 minus x. Okay, they told you now, if you take, if you take negative 1 as a common factor, this negative 1, it's let them change the order. Why? Because if you look here, if you take negative 1 here, if you take negative 1 here, if you multiply it, you will find that negative 1 times negative 3 is 3, and negative 1 plus x is negative x. So which is 3 minus x, which is the same as the denominator. So when you take the negative 1, it helped me to simplify and change the order of the numerator here. So when you take negative 1 as a common factor, what did you have? Let's divide 2 on negative 1. It will be negative 2. And negative x on negative 1, if you divide it, what did you have? Positive x.
Positive x.
Times 2 plus x, keep it as it is, because it cannot help me. Over 7 times x minus 2. Then negative 1. Now this negative 2 plus x, if you change the order, if you write x first and negative 2 at the last here, it will be the same. Is it right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, over 7 times x minus 2. Now, so when you simplify it now, after they cancel each other, you will have -1 times 2 plus x over 7. Is it clear?
Teacher, why you didn't cross -1, the brackets 2 plus x? Oh, okay, yes, teacher, yes.
Now, I want to find the excluded value.
But teacher, I must distribute -1 on both terms, which is 2 and x.
Yeah, but I don't want you to get get confused or make something else. Keep it like this.
Okay.
Okay. Now I want to find the excluded value. Now, where I have to find the excluded value? As I told you, you have to look at the expression after factorization before simplification. Where is it after factorization before simplification? It is here. Is it right?
Yes.
So I want now to find the excluded value. You have to find the 0 of the denominator. What are the 0 of the denominator? I have
Which is
at height, I have 7x minus 2 equals 0. This is the denominator. So when I told you now, if we have two numbers that are multiplied, one of them is 0. So 7, it could be 0, and x minus 2, it could be 0. Now 7 cannot be 0, so I will not use it. I will use x minus 2 equals 0, which is at point 2. So after you simplified, you will tell me that the simplified form is -1 times 2 plus x over 7 when x is not equal -2.
again, miss. Teacher, you said the last thing you said.
Here, when you have to find the excluded value, you will look at the denominator after factorization before simplification. Where is it? It is here. You will take it, which is 7 times x minus 2. Now, when I told you before that if you have a times b equals 0, so a, it could be 0, or b, it could be 0. So here we have the same. 7, it could be 0, or x minus 2, it could be 0. So when x minus 2 is 0, so when you remove or you let -2 go to the other side, so x is 2. So when you write the simplified form here, you have to write the simplified form, comma, tell me when x is not -2. When I see it, I will understand that all the values I can use it except x is -2. Is it clear?
Yes, miss, but
Yes,
when you
teacher.
find x minus 2 equals 0, it will be x equal 2. So only positive 2, I will not use it as a value.
At positive,
Or just
positive 2, yes, sorry, صح. When x is not positive 2.
Okay.
Okay. Let's solve now some questions here. Let's solve A. In A here, we have 2x minus 5 over 5 minus 2x. Now I want to see if I can simplify them or no. What you have to do, you have to look at the numbers. Are they opposite?
Yes. Yes.
Look at the variables
Yes.
now. Are they opposite?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
so I can factorize it. Keep 2x minus 5 as it is. And why? I keep the one that has a positive variable as it is. And change the one that has a negative sign of the variable. Where's the negative sign? It is in the denominator. This one, I want to change it. How? Take a negative 1 as a common factor, then change the sign. What does it mean? What is the sign of 5 here?
It's
Negative
positive.
five.
It's
But
5,
we
positive 5. Make it
Positive.
as negative 5. And what is the sign of negative 2x? It's negative.
It's negative.
So make it positive.
Positive.
So this negative 1, it's like a magic number. It's changed the signs of them, of the variable and of the number. Then after that here, you have 2x minus 5 and negative 1, and change the order here. Put 2x first and negative 5 at the last. As you see now, this negative 1, it's a magic. It's lets me say that I can understand. I can cancel them. So when I cancel them, I have negative 1.
But teacher, can I make like when I say two numbers and two variables are opposite and the same, I will make يعني يعني immediately -1 because يعني
Yes, if you,
I
yeah.
make the same step.
Yeah, you can. From the short way, if since they have negative or the opposite factors, cancel them and say they are negative 1. Yes, you can. Now, let's find the excluded value. To find the excluded value, come here. You have negative 5 plus, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. Negative 5 plus 2x. Let them equal 0. So, if you remove 5, you get positive 5 here. So 2x equal 5. So x here is 5 over 2. So that's mean the simplified form is equal negative 1 when x is not equal 5 over 2. When x is not 5 over 2, this function can be worked. Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay. Let's solve now B. In B here, we have y squared minus 16 over 4 minus y. Let's now factorize the first one. Y squared minus 16. How can I factorize it?
sum of difference.
Yeah, which is y minus 4 times y plus 4. And down here, we have 4 minus y. Now, look at them then. I want to see which is the opposite factor of 4 minus y.
Teacher, it's y plus 4.
Y plus 4. Why?
Yes. No, teacher, I mean y minus 4. Y minus 4. miss.
Y minus 4, because I look at the opposite signs here.
Okay.
They are opposite, so I will see that these ones, or this one, sorry, I can factorize it. So I will cancel it and I will say they are -1. So it's -1 times y plus 4. Or we can say it's -y plus 4 or 4 minus y. This is now the final answer. I want now to find the excluded value. Where I have to go? I have to go here to find the excluded value. I will say the excluded value, I need the 0 of the function, which is y when 4 minus y equals 0. When they are equal 0, when y equals what? Equals 4. So you will tell me now, the answer here is 4 minus y when y is not equal 4. Is it clear?
Teacher, wait, here in -1 times y plus 4. What's the simplified answer? 4 minus y or -y plus 4?
It's -y plus 4, but if you change the order, you get it as 4 minus y.
But teacher, if you multiply -1 with +4, it will be -4.
No, miss, it's like this, -y. -y minus 4. Thank you. So let's change it quickly before the video will finish.